Hey guys, what's happening? I'm going to try and stare into the camera and note my screen because I always do that. I'm like, oh, there's me on the screen. No, I'm looking at the camera. I'm talking to you guys. Hello, how you doing? How's it going, guys? How is it going? It's been Jesus. It's been a journey. It's been a while since I've really updated you guys on what's going on in my life. What's been happening, bigger events. Talking about the podcast, talking about my life, and Jesus, yeah, there's been a lot that's been happening this year. I mean, the last 2 years, oh my god, like I've just been such a roller coaster with COVID, with losing work, and it's been a minute. It's really been a minute about just trying to process everything about the world and my career and so many things going on. But where do I start? Well, let's start with the good news, because God only knows how many years I have been in this podcast talking about mental health and struggling and what am I doing in my life. And it was getting to a point, it was like a broken record, right? Every time I came on here, I was like, God, woe is me, what's going to happen and what's the next step and, oh, am I going to make it? Well, I tell you what, guys, I fucking made it. I actually done it. I got a full-time job as an artist, paid. Thank God. Oh man, you cannot understand how good it feels to have some kind of security in your life, even if it is brief or even if it's just for a little while this project gains momentum. But good God, man, what a change the last 2 months have brought me. So for you who don't know, I got a job. I'm working with a company called Fabricated Madness. It's a startup. It's a new company, but it is run by one of my oldest friends in the industry, Matt Gazer. So shout out, Matt. Thank you for employing me. So a little caveat about what's going on. So Matt has worked as a concept designer and set designer, visual designer, visual development artist for probably the best part of 15, maybe more years. And Matt's had this idea to start his own company and build games and productions around this idea that he's built, which is a world with the main character being the focus, which is Dr. Zamzi, which I'll kind of show you a bit of here. So Dr. Zamzi has been something that has been building in Matt's head for over 10 years, and he now has the kind of capital to back it. So when he was looking for somebody to turn his drawings into 3D, he naturally thought of me, which was great of him. We done a small art test and a bit of an interview, and then he spoke to his partners who are involved in the company also, and then they hired me. It really was a quick process. I think, we started talking about it early on, and then within a week, I was working for him. So, Matt has burdened me with a debt that I will never be able to repay him, which is getting me my first real job in the industry. And also, what's been funny about the last couple of weeks, and I'll not speak to specifics about it because I don't think I can, but I have been, since I've changed my LinkedIn to say that I'm working for Matt and his company, and also the fact that I'm working full time, I've had a couple of offers from some relatively big studios about doing work, and at the moment I've turned those down because I want to focus on the current project I'm on, which is Zamzi, and I'm just I'm happy where I am. I don't feel the need to chase anything bigger right now. I'm just quite content about the path I've chosen, and I'm obviously very grateful to Matt for helping me. So I want to be loyal to him as well, and he's a good friend also, as well as my boss. So I couldn't ask for a better person to work for. He's super supportive. He, even as an art director, is super encouraging. Always looks at my stuff and feedback's very precise and helpful. It's never really bad or derogatory or anything that's negative. Even if I kind of miss the mark, which I haven't kind of really at this moment. I seem to be, we seem to be matching each other's speed, where I'm interpreting his models or his concepts into models, sorry. And he's super pleased with them. So yeah, it's been really good. And the team, we're small at the moment. There's like 6, maybe 8 of us, and we all super get along. So like, I'm quite happy where I am. I'm also just quite happy to have a job. So I'm very conscious of the fact that I want to just take a breath right now and just enjoy where I am, because it took me a long fucking time to get here. If you guys know anything about the struggles I've had since I started this journey in 2015, 2016, trying to, start going to events, meeting people, getting my foot in the door, finishing university, graduating, freelancing, and now the full-time gig. Yeah, I mean, it's been a hell of a ride. And like I said, especially the last 2 years with COVID, good fucking God, man, that was a roller coaster, and still is. The funny thing is, not that I've ever really spoke about it, but I had jobs lined up. I had one job even in particular lined up before COVID hit that I was going to take, and it was a full-time position. It was doing 3D, and as soon as COVID hit, it just fell out from under my feet, and I was so gutted. Because even back then, like you're talking 2 years ago, I was like, oh, fantastic. Like, I've just graduated, let's jump on and get a job. No. So, yeah, like now I'm just super happy. Man, I got my first paycheck from the gig, which is probably the most money I've had ever. And I managed to pay off a bunch of debt, pay off a bunch of bills, and I'm still pretty flush with cash. Now, that's not a flex. I'm not trying to talk about how rich I am, because I'm definitely not rich. But I've been poor. I've definitely been poor for a long time. Like, living off savings, my parents helping me, my partner helping me, the small bits of freelance I would get from video editing or 3D modeling or doing stuff like, I say motivational speaking, but, helping younger students with their portfolio or, feedback. Like, the little bit of money I would have, I would tuck away and try and just live off for as long as I could, because I don't have many bills. Although that's changed now that I've moved into a house. But like, there was a point where I was living off like $20 a week, which in this day and age is not a lot of money, really. Is nothing, absolutely nothing to live off these days. And like the money I have now, I've just been sometimes looking at stuff, like the stupidest stuff. Like I got a desk light. I can't show you, it's attached to my monitor, but like I got a light that lights up my desk because I thought it was really cool. And I've always looked at it thinking like it's like $40, and I'm like, I can't afford. When you live off $20 a week, you can't afford $40 on a desk light. That's like half your month's money. So I was like, nah. But like, I just looked at it and I was like, yeah, I have money, I'll just get it. It just continued. Like, there was things that, like, even, as much as I don't have time to play video games these days, I was looking at some games that had came out recently and I was like, I could just buy that. I could just buy that day one. I could get the Ultimate Edition. And I can afford that. That money will no eat into my bills. It's not money that's going anywhere. I can just buy it if I want it. You cannot understand the wave of like joy that washed over me when I thought about that I could just buy a game I wanted without having to panic about how I'm going to pay my bills. Like, it's crazy. I wrote a post recently where I talked about how almost all the time when I ate or had food, I would bring it to my desk and eat at my desk because I was working on something. Like I'd be like, oh, I don't want to be away from my desk too long. I'm working on something. I'll make something, bring it back to my desk. I'll eat it here. Which is super unhealthy, by the way, because you can't get away from your desk. You get used to eating, in front of your monitor. It's just a gross habit to have. And by the way, guys, my health has, Jesus Christ, took a nosedive since the pandemic. Like, being shut in all day, sitting behind my computer, comfort eating, I'm at probably the biggest I've ever been in my life, and it's no great. It's causing nothing but issues for me right now, and I really need to get that sorted out. But anyway, that's another story. But yeah, I wrote a whole post about how I went downstairs one morning, and I think it was only about a week after I'd started working for Matt, and I made breakfast. And I'd sent some stuff away. I was waiting for feedback, so I was like, I can take a bit of time. And I just looked at because we just got a table for the downstairs kitchen, so we can eat in the kitchen. And I looked at that and I was like, I can just sit and have my breakfast and chill for 20 minutes. Like, it's not going to kill me. Like, I have a job now. I've done my tasks. I'm waiting for feedback. I don't have to go back upstairs. And I just sat and ate my breakfast. Looked out the window. Took in the world. It was crazy. It was absolutely surreal. I couldn't believe that I got to just like sit and enjoy myself. It was, like the first, I think I'm not sleeping as great now because, we're a bit knee deep in the project and I've got I've got a lot of work to do. So I'm busy thinking about things. But that first couple of nights that, or that first weekend, even when I finished my work, my partner was talking about how she could see I was sleeping better. Like I was genuinely just sleeping sounder. Like I had zero worries. And I was like, that's crazy. I can't understand how that's translated so well into me sleeping and eating better. Like the stress that must have came off my mind now that I had a job must have been crazy. Mad. Absolutely mad. So Dr. Zamzi, I'll link all the videos below and I'll link the website, and I really want to get Matt and his business partner Rolf on to talk about the project more in depth and what they're doing. Basically, it's an NFT collectible card game, and we're building a card game battle system where you buy the cards via the NFT sales and then use them in game. And I am building the 3D version of that, which I can talk about openly. Unlike most places with NDAs or things you're working on, people are very secretive. But Matt and Rolf have both been super forward on the things they're doing. Revealing to people when I've been finishing models or finished texturing them or working on them. Matt's been posting them, and people have been super responsive, really loving the stuff I'm doing. So it's been great. I've really enjoyed it, and it's just a great feeling to be doing work that people appreciate. I can't tell you how awesome that is. It's unbelievably indescribable how happy I feel that I'm at this point in my life. It took me a long fucking time to get here, like a long time. I left my job in 2012, so nearly 10 years total, and that was including like 5 years of school. So I got my honours degree and stuff. So yeah, but yeah, the pandemic. I think if the pandemic hadn't hit, I know if the pandemic hadn't hit, I'd been working full time already. I wouldn't even be in this country. I'd be gone. So yeah, the pandemic's kind of fucked everybody. But yeah, I'm just glad I'm at a point now where. And Matt's in San Francisco. The company's in San Francisco, so I can work remotely. It's great. I just get up in the morning, come down to my office, and work from here, work from home, and it's great, super good. So yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy about that. I really, truly am. So what's been happening apart from that? So the podcast is still going strong. We have multiple guests lined up. Still, as of this recording, it's the 17th of October, and it's like 7 a.m. here. So it's wild. But yeah, so we've got a couple of the guests lined up for the last few episodes for this year. I don't want to do too much more because I feel like I have enough that I can, from now till December, I can space them out and I can take like a kind of break, like where I know, okay, I've got enough to finish the year, and 2 that I'm waiting on are pretty big guests. I've already had 1 pretty huge guest on who I don't want to spoil. I don't want to I don't want to talk too much about what's going to happen there, because that's going to come up on the YouTube channel soon, so you guys can check it out once that lands. But yeah, because I've just interviewed somebody pretty huge, and that's going to land soon. 2, actually. I mean, one person in the industry who's huge, I would say, is pretty big, and then another person who is within the games industry, but not an artist, which is obviously kind of unusual. Where, well, I mean, I've interviewed audio technicians and other people, but this person isn't an artist per se. You know, like I'm not gonna give it away. You'll see it soon enough come up on the channel. It's going to be a pretty awesome episode, and I'll make sure I put that up early enough where guys you can kind of book the time and want to listen to it. Yeah, there's those couple of episodes are still to go up, and then I have 2 potential towards the end of the year that are massive interviews. One in particular is someone I've wanted to talk to for the best part of 5 years, but have never had the chance to. So stay tuned, because that's coming. Yeah, so those episodes are happening. The podcast is still rolling. I'm not slowing down. I'm still probably going to keep it to 1 or 2 a month. I don't want to do too many, because again, it takes focus away from my main goal, which is my art. But then I think 1 or 2 a month has definitely been a good pace. I mean, I've done that consistently for the last 5 years. I mean, we recently turned 5, so, you know, hooray for us. Happy birthday. Digital Artcast is now 5 years old. I think we turned 5 in June or July. Because 2016, just before I went to my first industry workshops in 2016, my first ever event, I recorded a podcast with Titus Linter. Shout out to Titus, who was my first ever guest on the podcast ever. Crazy. So yeah, Titus came on, we interviewed him, and yeah, it seems like so long ago, you know, like we started very humbly interviewing, you know, people, and my first bunch of guests were people from industry workshops that year. So Marek Maciej, Marcin Kliski, Bokur Eriksson, Jort van Wilbergen, you know, like a lot of the guys who I met at the events. And then we've expanded. You know, we've done the Black Lives Matter panel. We've tried to diversify with audio directors and people within other disciplines, and of course tried to get as many female artists and female devs on as we could, of course, just to diversify and try and get a voice from different places, which is great, because the next couple episodes going up we have a couple of female artists coming up. We just interviewed Marina from Splash Damage, so it was a great episode as well. And yeah, it's been great. I'm really proud of the podcast. I'm glad that people enjoy it, and I'm going to keep doing it for as long as I possibly can. Artistically, I'm where I want to be, where my 3D is at a point now where I know, having spoken to industry professionals and people who are of a very high level, that my work is good enough to get hired. So, you know, I'm just going to keep pushing that, obviously, and keep that growing. But yeah, I'm at a place now I didn't think I would ever be, where I'm happy with my work. I'm happy with what I'm doing, and I have goals. I have goals of what I want to do next, or what is for, you know, my future plans, things I want to do far off into the future. My immediate concern is Dr. Zamzi. I would love for the project to go all the way at this point. I mean, Matt is self-funding the project at the moment, so, you know, worst case scenario, if you know, the project wasn't funded at a certain level, we would have to kind of stop it. But at the moment, it's going well. You know, it looks like it's going to do very well. So yeah, there's definitely, at least for the next couple of years, there's funding there to keep me employed and to keep Matt taking over, which is great. And yeah, I have some aspirations and interests I want to tackle moving forward. There's things I've wanted to do, or things that, you know, are on the bucket list, stuff I've wanted to achieve. I don't know if I want to talk about it. I mean, I feel like sometimes when you say things, it concretes them in people's minds that you're going to do something by a certain date, or you're going to do something, and if you don't do it, then what does that mean? I mean, I've always been transparent with you guys, but then I found with social media, the podcast is maybe one of the exceptions where I'm trying to maybe come away from my online presence and just focus on work, especially as I get a little bit older, because I start to think about stuff like, YouTube, Twitch, streaming, all that jazz. It gets to a point where I think to myself, where is it sad? Where does it get sad? Where, if I'm in my 40s doing it still, like, is that different? I'm in my 50s. I think it's different as well, thinking about it now as I'm talking to you guys, where I look at guys like Adam Duff, Lucid Pixel, where Adam's, as far as I know, in his 40s. I'm pretty sure about that. I don't know specifically the age, but I do know he's in his 40s. And he actively still posts on YouTube regularly. And yeah, I just feel like I'd want to keep going as long as it felt sensible. I don't know if it sounds dumb, me saying this, but yeah, I don't want to, it's not maybe beating a dead horse, but I don't want to seem like I'm saturating the channel by putting up too much content. I don't know, guys, this is where you guys can come in, because would you like to see more of this where I talk to you guys in this format? Would you like me to do art live? Would you like, I mean, the things I'm probably asking, I know people have talked to me about it. They want more of, they want to see me model, draw, talk to people live. But it's difficult because the platform I have right now, there's not a huge engagement, because what I do is very niche. Though, I've had ideas beyond my station of what I want to do next, and it's going to sound counterintuitive, and I don't want to talk about it just yet. I think if I get to a point where I'm going to talk about it, I'd rather talk about it where I have something to show you, rather than just talking about it. Because I've learned from many people in this industry that talk is cheap, right? You can talk a big game. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. If you don't actually physically do it, then you just seem like an idiot, that you're just talking bullshit. Like, you can say like, oh, I'm going to, I don't know, for instance, I'm going to direct this huge award-winning movie where I interview 100 artists. That would be cool, right? Probably something I'd want to do. But then if I don't do that, or don't even start it, or have any proof to show you that I've done research already, it feels like it's just an empty promise, an empty threat, it's just an empty wish. Like, it's something where I'm like, oh, I'd love to do this, I mean, there's certain things I'd love to do, right? I don't think I've ever made this secret that I'd love to work in Hearthstone. Even though the controversy that Blizzard has went through, I'd still love to work for them one day, because, the people who are there who are shit, will be dealt with in due course, and the culture, hopefully, it has to change, But I still love the franchises. You know what I mean? People can even say Walt Disney was this and that, but people still watch Disney films. People still subscribe to Disney Plus. Marvel's on Disney Plus now, so they watch it. Even though Disney may do or say things, or there may be practices within Disney that are super bad, right? You still watch Disney stuff. So, I totally acknowledge and see the stuff that's been going on in Blizzard, and it's fucking god awful. It shouldn't be happening. Totally shouldn't be happening at all. But I know people in that company who are super awesome people, who are female, who are members of the LGBTQ community, who are there trying to change things and make things better. So I haven't quite given up on Blizzard yet. So Blizzard is a goal. That's something I'd love to do. I'd love to work for Hearthstone. I've wanted to work for them for a long time. So that's still a goal, is doing that. I would like to, make an art book. I'd love to make an art book and release it. I'd love to pay for it myself and just give people away free copies. I want to do that. All this is building towards something that has been my overall goal, which I've never really talked about, which is I want to leave behind a legacy. I want to leave a print on the world so that when I'm gone, people can look back and say, Gordon put that out. That was Gordon's art book. That was his channel. That was his podcast. That was his legacy. That's what I want to do, is leave a legacy. That's really what I want to do. Because at the end of the day, as depressing as it sounds, I'm not going to be here forever, right? One day I won't be here. And I've been thinking about what I want to be left behind. Like, what's the things I want people to say about me when I'm not here anymore. And that's where the art comes in. The art book, Hearthstone, you're saying to yourself, Gordon, those require 2D skills. You're totally right. Yeah, you are 100% right. Those require me being a good 2D artist. Yeah, like, you're 100% on, hit the nail on the head. I'd need to be able to draw, paint, texture, stuff that is almost the polar opposite from the 3D path. However, sorry, my phone's gone off. However, how do I say this? It's not been any secret that I've wanted to be a 2D artist. I would say even an illustrator. That's something that I have wanted to do since I left my job. It's just so happened that 3D at the moment is paying the bills, which is great. I believe you can have something that is your money earner versus your passion, right? And people would say as well, Gordon, you've you've not really pushed that to the envelope as much as you could have, which you're right in. I definitely could have been doing more. I could have pushed that more. But you've got to understand that for a long time, I didn't enjoy art anymore. The fun of making art was gone. I just couldn't be bothered anymore. I just couldn't. It was depressing to be an artist. What I found recently is, though, since I got my job, one thing I've done was sit down and be like, what now? What do I do now? What's the next thing? But also, because I had money, because the pressure was alleviated, because I had work, I found the fun in art again. It just appeared. It came to me. Like, I was like, I actually do enjoy doing this. But I didn't because I was poor. When I have money and a job, I like it. So, yeah, 2D is something I would like to pursue, as well as 3D. Now, you can't be a master at two things, obviously. You can't, I couldn't be like the world's best hard surface artist and the world's best 2D artist or illustrator, there's an overlap, right? You can use 3D skills to boost your 2D stuff. Like, that's totally, many people do that. Many people are good modelers and can also draw on top of those things. So, yeah, that's a thing. But I would love to do some 2D stuff. In the long term, my immediate goal is the 3D stuff I'm doing with Zamzi. But I would like to do 2D stuff also, which Matt knows about. Matt has actually spoke to me about it, and Matt, being a great concept artist, concept designer, is someone that could help me on that path. And yeah, he's openly said, like, look, your 3D stuff is good. If you use your 2D stuff also, you could be, you could be a pretty good artist. So 2D is on the cards. It's something that I have thought openly about for a long time, and I think what I want to be doing, because also, spending 8 hours a day 3D modeling and texturing and working in Unreal, right? So that muscle is getting worked out already because I have to do it for my job, right? So at night time I can focus on drawing. So I've also thought about like, how does the channel fit into this? Do I want to do stuff publicly? Do I want to draw? And I think initially I don't want to get too involved with the channel. I want to keep things separate in the moment till I feel like my 2D skills are good enough that I can then bring them on the channel and be like, I can draw a person, a background. I would want to be with you guys learning, but I feel like trying to learn things while having an audience is difficult. I mean, I've seen it with some of my friends like James Murphy, Modern Day James, where, he actually has a great vibe where, he barely lifts his head to talk to his audience sometimes. Like, he will look at comments and stuff, but his focus that whole stream is his work, right? Like, his 2D stuff is, like, his focus 100%. And, I don't know how that would fit. I'd want to talk to him about it, see how he feels, maybe give me some advice. But yeah, I need to basically talk to him about that. But yeah, that's something I want to do. I would want to live stream my process and do 2D stuff and have you guys interact with me. But we'll work on that. I'll keep you guys updated on the process of what's going to happen there. So yeah. But yeah, 2D is something I want to pursue also. It's definitely something that's on the back burner, something I want to do, and yeah, I'll keep you updated with that basically. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of all I want to talk about right now. I also have a Patreon now where I've kind of rebranded it so it's just my name. I was putting it under Geo3DR or Digital Artcast, but I've just named it Gordon Neil Art basically now, or just I think it's maybe even Gordon Neil. I'll link it down below. But yeah, I'm just making it so that it's like you're just supporting me basically. I facilitate other things like the Artcast, like drawing 3D, but me as a person, if you want to support me, you can go to my Patreon, you can add your name, pick your tier, and then go from there. But I want to get that sorted because I've got a couple of bigger interviews coming up, and if there's any publicity, I want something to be there as well. Great that I have a job now. I'm not really chasing money as much, so again, these will all be uploaded for free. If you guys want to support me though, you can go to the Patreon and support me. You don't have to, totally. You do not have to give me any money. You can watch these things for free, 100%. But if you want to support me, I would appreciate it. Any money you give me, it's always going to be appreciated. It'll go towards, better mic setups, better cameras, better lighting. That is something that I'm actively investing in at the moment. You can't really see it because my desk is obviously, the camera's facing me, not my desk, but I have been investing in a few things here and there to try and make my setup a bit more modern or a bit better presented. So the Patreon's down below. You can check it out. Let me know what you think. Okay, guys, that's pretty much all for right now. I don't want to keep you too long, but yeah, if you have any other questions or you have any comments, stick them down below. I'm quite happy to respond to them. And yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys really soon. Bye.